Hello, everyone, and welcome to another weekly energy forecast. So, in these sessions, we have a look at the astrological energy of the week, the energy of the moon phase, and the energy of the seasons, and how they all layer on top of each other to create our experience of the week. And these sessions are really here to help you develop energy literacy and self-literacy. So, understand the energies that are influencing you, how you can work with them, how you respond to certain energies, and also I guess also to kind of give you an insight into the things cropping up in your life and the significance of them. So, for example, if there's something supportive happening in the area of your sixth house, an opportunity comes up for you and you're not sure whether or not it's something that is going to help move your life forward. For example, when we understand the transits that are happening in that area of life, that's going to give us an indication of what is actually available to us in that opportunity. So sometimes it's growth and expansion. Sometimes there might be, if Saturn's involved, it could be yes, it's a good opportunity, but it's going to require effort. So these transits can help us understand cognitively understand what's happening in our life, make sense of it, and also to help us understand how we can equip ourselves best to show up to those situations as well. So, this is a great week. I love this week. I love this month. I love this week a lot. There's just so much nice stuff happening after the intensity of the first couple months. This is just so welcome. So, yes, it's lovely. So we're really starting to wrap up the spring season now. So we're heading towards the solstice on the 21st. So we've still got a couple weeks left, but about a week before the solstice, we then go into a period of earth. So we've been in the wood element since the spring equinox, and we will be moving into a period of earth about a week before. So we've roughly got about a week or two left of like really directional spring energy with us. And this is the season of assertive action. The wood element penetrates earth. That's what it does. So it pushes something new through the surface to be kind of brought into the world. So, the water element is ruled by the winter. That's all about planting seeds, nurturing something before it actually comes into fruition. And then the spring season is all about pushing through and actually bringing something into the world. So this is a time to be active. It is a yang energy. It's action oriented. So it's directional. And then we also have a first quarter moon, which is the same energy as the spring season. It's associated with the spring season. The first quarter moon, again, the new moon is the winter. It's the period of time in the month where we get quiet, we set intentions, and then that energy builds towards the first quarter moon. And that's all about getting things started. And then when we're at that first quarter moon, it's action, action, action. So it's a very action oriented week, having the two layers of messaging kind of on top of each other, aligning, right? And then there's just so much support over the next couple of weeks, but we are kind of going through a shift in tone this week. So we've had a lot of yang energy, we've had a lot of Jupiter in Gemini, we've had Venus in Aries. It's all yang, like forward moving, fiery, action oriented stuff. And we're now kind of hopping on over into a more yin, soft kind of action, right? So it's not that yin energy isn't going to help us move forward because it is, but it's about doing it in a way that's a bit less directional and forceful. So this week is still directional and it's still moving things forward and it's still got a yang quality, but we are kind of in a transition where things are going to soften up a little bit and there's going to be a little bit more of a sense of ease and presence and groundedness as opposed to like driving forward. And you might kind of feel that, especially with Gemini season, things are very, very quick and very changeable. And there's going to be Mercury's going to hop over into Cancer, so that's going to kind of soften and soothe that a little bit. So there's going to be a little bit less of this scatteredness and this fieriness that we've had going on over the last month or so. So, um, what else did I want to touch on? We've just got lots of nice supportive action from benefics this week. We've got a really nice sextile with Venus in Aries and Jupiter. So the two most benefic planets in the sky are talking to each other in a really positive way. We've got them both wrapping up their journeys from these yang signs, preparing to move. So Venus is going to be moving into a home sign of Taurus, where she loves to be. And we're also then on Monday next week, we're then going to have Jupiter moving into Cancer, which is where Jupiter loves to be. So both are going from signs of their fall, where they don't do so well, into signs where they're super happy. And that just brings such a sigh of relief and a really nice, harmonious, flowy quality to the month. So really looking forward to that change this week when Venus moves in, and then next week we'll be fully in this really juicy, lovely energy that we've got for the summer. So let's get into it. On Thursday, the 5th of June, so we have Venus in Aries sextiling Jupiter in Gemini. So this is our first like notable aspect of the week. This is happening at 28 degrees of those signs. So Venus is the planet of relationships, it's magnetism, is in a supportive aspect to the planet of growth and optimism and expansion. So these planets are kind of closing something out as well because they're at the both at the end of their journey. So the Venus retrograde journey, whatever that brought up for you, this is really kind of closing out now. It's coming to a culmination. But Jupiter here is almost, and Jupiter's the same. Jupiter's been in Gemini roughly for about a year. I mean, with retrogrades aside, Jupiter roughly spends about a year in each sign, but that does really vary depending on its retrogrades within a specific period of time. But Jupiter's roughly been in Gemini for around a year, so it's really wrapping up its journey there now. So have a little look at what area of life this Venus retrograde has been hitting for you, which I'm sure you're probably aware of by now if you've been following these updates for a while, but also where the Jupiter in Gemini has been for you as well because this will give you an indication of what area of life has been grown and expanded over the last year, which is where Jupiter and Gemini has been, and also the period of life where we've kind of been through a little bit of a dark night of the soul, kind of going down into the depths of the underworld to come up. And now Venus is moving forward there's really this sense of, okay, like you've gathered the lesson, you've learned and understood what that was about. And then now hopefully like the end part of this Venus retrograde has really been about wrapping things up, moving forward, and also kind of reaping the rewards from some of that kind of digging and depth that we had to go to during that Venus retrograde. So this is just like a final closing out where they're really supporting each other. There's an opportunity here for growth and expansion. There's an opportunity here to really reap the rewards of the work you've been putting in over the last year slash 4 or 5 months with Venus. So it's preparing to almost step into an expansive new chapter, this as well. Like when Jupiter closes something out, it also moves into another sign. So it's not really just endings because whatever we're kind of reaping the rewards of now, we're then going to be stepping into a new chapter of growth with as soon as this ends. So this is, and it's very yang, this like the both of them being in yang signs, both benefics being in yang signs at the same time. It's like it's courageous energy, it's energizing, and it's also relational as well. Um, I would really invite you to just consider and ponder over like the next couple of days, especially like the lead up to this sextile, is what are you closing out and what do you need to action, right? Because we've got the energy of the moon, we've got the energy of the season. Members, we've also been working with the penetrating flow as well, which is the energy, one of the radiant circuits, the energy system in the body, which helps us to kind of pierce and get through things, right? It helps us to direct. So again, and also, working with the liver and gallbladder like we have been doing over the spring in the energy medicine sessions, like all of these energies are going to help support you in making the most of this transit. And this is an action oriented transit because it's yang, right? So this is supportive, it's relational, it could be with someone else, but there's an action that needs to be taken here that will bring growth and expansion. So if there's something that maybe you've been putting off for a while, that you want to action, particularly in these areas of life that this chart is this transit is activating for you, I'd really invite you to actually just do it this week because there's going to be so much supportive energy with you. And I guess just other one thing to note as well is like both planets, Aries and Venus in Aries and Jupiter in Gemini, they have both been in their fall in these signs. So things may have felt a bit strange. So where Venus is very juicy and kind of is magnetism and it kind of it attracts things to it there is this sense of when planets are in their fall, they kind of operate a little bit differently as well. So there may have been something about these transits when you're reflecting on them that might have been a bit strange or sticky or not what you expected. I know particularly for me, the Jupiter has been transiting my sixth house of health, daily rituals, daily work, labor, that kind of thing. And the way Jupiter grows and expands and exaggerates. So the way that Jupiter behaved in this transit surprised me, and it wasn't necessarily in a way that I expected because Jupiter is inherently a benefic planet, but there were certain things that came up with my health that became exaggerated, but they gave me the opportunity to transform them, right? So now because of that, those things like have sparked me, set me off down a new path of growth and expansion, but it was maybe because it's a benefic planet, you kind of assume that it would show up in a really, really positive way, like an opportunity, for example. But Jupiter can sometimes exaggerate something to make you see it more. So then there's opportunity for growth and expansion. So especially when it's in its fall, it can operate a little bit differently, like in that kind of way. So again, Jupiter grows and expands. So just be mindful of that, pay attention to that, and do a bit of reflection around that, especially if things have shown up not quite as you expected them, because that's very, very planets in their fall. Um, Okay, so and then on the same day, so on Thursday, the 5th of June, we also have Mercury and Gemini sextiling Mars in Leo. So again, another really supportive aspect here. This is the ability to articulate what you need to action. So Mercury, the mind, how we form ideas, cognitive insight, cognitive understanding, speech. And Mars, the planet of action, the planet of drive, with all of this actionable energy as well, is really moving things forward. So this is an action plan day could be an ideal thing, like Mercury, like mentally, cognitively understanding what you need to action, right, is a really, really beneficial way of this transit expressing. So again, we've got the Venus in Aries, Jupiter in Gemini support, as well as this cognitive mental understanding of what we need to action. So there's so much happening here that's helpful. Um, so, and also with Mars being in a fire sign as well, it's not like Mars is in Cancer where it's kind of side scuttling around things. Mars is in Leo. It knows what it's doing here. It's fiery, it's directional, it wants to get shit done. This is very much a just do it day. And the just do it will be paying off and will be supported. This could also be around visibility, being seen, using language in some way. So it could be a really good day for announcements, communications, a call to action. That's a great way of seeing this. Like Mars is action, Mars is fire, Mercury is a call, right? So the ability to kind of call to action, it could be to have a conversation with someone where we need to action something. Again, looking at where this is falling in your chart can be helpful. You know, if you're having this in, say, the sixth house of daily work and eighth house of other people's money, investments, taxes, like this could be a call to action of been like having a conversation with your partner about the distribution of jobs and how you're managing your money, for example. And this is where you're really going to have that breakthrough and take the action and actually make the change because the energy is there helping you now. And then on Friday, the 6th of June, we have Venus moving into Taurus. So this is Venus moving into her home sign. There's been a lot of fire and potentially a lot of harshness around the usual softness of Venus in Aries. Venus in Aries is very fiery, driven, hot. Um, this is going to bring a little bit more groundedness, ease, and quite soothing from all of that heat and that fire. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I don't necessarily think planets in their fall are bad. They're just different and they just bring maybe a bit more friction than a planet in its home sign would. There's a sense of ease to this and it's really juicy and lovely. So, it doesn't mean things won't move forward because Aries is the planet of action. It's yang, and we were talking about that directional energy. Venus is moving into an earth sign, but Taurus is all about tangibility. It's all about being consistent and that slow and steady can win the race, essentially. So the yin quality of Taurus, it teaches us that we don't need to be directional all the time to get shit done. There's a real strength in Taurus energy, but it's in a very feminine way. So it's that slow, steady, enjoying the fuck out of life as you go, like really getting the juiciness, understanding like Taurus is the five senses. It's all about being present here on the physical plane now. So it's all about feeling and sensing and exploring and enjoying. And then but it's also because it's so strong and so directional and so not directional actually, because it's so strong and consistent. There's a strength to it to move mountains. So this it's almost like that slow, steady, consistent energy to move mountains that can also stop and smell the roses because it's so present. So it can get the most and juice out of life while also achieving in a really balanced way. So this is so nice. This is really balanced energy that we've got coming up here. And then also on the same day, we've got Mercury and Gemini squaring the North Node in Pisces at 23 degrees. So this is a little bit eclipsy. And this is perhaps a conversation around what you're being called to focus on. So the North Node is pushing on us in a certain direction. It wants us to grow in a certain direction. Um, this could be and like the Mercury, the mind of the planet of the mind, how we form ideas, communication. This can bring a day of sudden cognitive insight into something because eclipses are sudden, they're quick, they just kind of bring realizations, they bring sudden 180s, sudden moments of clarity, especially with Mercury being there. So, but because this is a square, there could be tension here around what you think is right versus where you're being pulled, right? What you're being pushed to focus on, what you're being called to leave behind as well. Because if Mercury is squaring the North Node, it's also squaring the South Node. So, and the South Node is our like past, our karma, like where we were. So this could be an invitation to move away from that. So yeah, like I think using, and also with the square being immutable signs as well. So Gemini is duality. It's about like both things almost being true. It's about like both things existing. And then Pisces is boundless. So it doesn't have limits and it's open to all possibility. So the tension between these two could be being too open to possibility potentially. So there's so many options, and I think I know what I should be doing, but like, what am I being called to do? And I could do this, and I could do this, and I could do this, and it feels very scattered, this, and maybe like unclear. So tuning into where your energy is guiding you could help you. So again, really dropping into the body and having that self-literacy can really help. So knowing your strategy and authority in human design, so you know the unique way you're designed to make decisions, can help you really understand where energy is actually calling you, what the right decision is for you, because there may be a haze and confusion on this day. However, one, like knowing that on paper isn't really enough. We need to be dropped in. We need to be embodied to actually feel what is right, right? And that's where somatic practice can really help. So over on the membership, we've got so many resources that will help you drop into the body, connect with your intuition, connect with your inner guidance. We've got classes in the library to support you with that. And then also this month, we're releasing the classes today, which are all on the regulating and penetrating flow. So it's all about regulating your body, getting grounded, and also directing your energy where you want it to go. So in days like this, when things are hazy and confusing, you have the self-literacy, you have the muscle developed inside of you to understand how to navigate life, right? And this will hopefully help you with that. Um, and then on Sunday, the 8th of June, we have Mercury in Gemini conjunct Jupiter in Gemini at 29 degrees. So this again, it's continuing the wrapping up of this journey of Jupiter and Gemini. So this could be an enlightening, expansive conversation, an opportunity for growth and expansion. It could even come in the form of like a formalized email or letter, potentially. So something coming through, maybe you've been waiting for, because with Jupiter have been in Gemini for a while. It's wrapping up its journey, but it's been there for a year. So it might not be something new coming up. It might be the culmination of something that's kind of been growing and expanding over the last year. But we almost get like the final full stop, like the final like moment of like, okay, it's all solidified now. And Mercury might bring the communication that's kind of wrapping up the journey, that might bring the final ending to that journey, because the next day Jupiter is then going to move on into Cancer. So um it's a day where you can finally wrap things up, close a door. This could be a breakthrough, opening you up to something new, because the Jupiter is going to be moving. We're going to be stepping into a new chapter of growth and expansion. So this could be a breakthrough that opens up a new opportunity. And this could be ending something, like opening up to you a fresh new chapter with fertile ground. So Jupiter has gone through that sign and expanded, and kind of almost like, when like a farmer hoes a field and all the earth is kind of brought up to the surface and it's fresh and it's fertile, like we've kind of hoed in all of this like compost, and the ground is really fertile. And now that's like, we've done the work, we've done the expansion, and now like everything's ready for it to like grow and thrive. So this could feel like the stepping into a new chapter of whatever that's been about for you over the last year. And then finally, Mercury's entering Cancer. So this is going from thinking to feeling. This will bring some soft yin energy to the harshness of all of this fire and air that we've had. It could be a call to turn inward, though, with Mercury entering Cancer. This can very much kind of go in on itself, because the crab kind of hermits a little bit. So it's going from quite extroverted energy to slightly more introverted energy. Um, you know, Mercury in Cancer natally can be emotional intelligence. It can be creative. It can be very nurturing speech or nurturing communication. So someone who's got a very soft, gentle kind of like soothing way of communicating that's like like soothing balm for the soul. So this is going from like a very mental, like factual oriented energy to a real soft, nurturing energy that's very creative, very emotionally intelligent. So it's a real shift in tone, this, and we're going to really see this play out over the next couple of weeks. So I think that's all I wanted to go into for today in terms of the astrology. Membership guys, we're releasing the lovely, lovely practices for this month. So we've got a couple of longer sessions on developing that relationship with the regulating and the penetrating flow, getting you into a rhythm, helping you feel a lot more cyclical and balanced, and also directing energy where you want it to go. So those classes are going to be so incredibly supportive over the next couple of weeks of energy to really make the most of the end of the spring. And then we'll be moving into earth and really working with grounding, and working with those summer solstice sessions that we've got on the membership to then see us into the summer and really make the most of that juicy season. We're also going to be doing another 21-day experiment. It's going to be a brand new one this time. We're going to be working with all of the radiant circuits. So I'm really, really, really excited to be announcing the dates for that. The next new moon coaching call that we've got coming up in about 3 weeks is going to kick that off. But then the full moon coaching call that we've got next week, where we're going to have our sharing session, will really get the opportunity to talk about where we're at and almost kind of do some reflection and space clearing in preparation to step into that experiment as well. So very exciting times over on our membership. So guys, if you're watching outside of the membership, please come and join us. We've got a really, really lovely, juicy summer lined up for you all. And I will see you next week in the energy forecast video. Lots of love. Mwah.